All runners make mistakes at some point within their training, and most certainly within their racing too. And in some cases, we repeat those mistakes over and over again, myself included. So today I thought we could take this opportunity to reflect upon those mistakes, learn from them, so that we don't make the same mistakes again. Okay, let's start off with your trainers. Now, most people take somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 steps per mile when they're running. And if we think about a 10-kilometer run and we take that upper end of 2,000 steps per mile and equate that over the 10 kilometers, that works out at 12,420 steps over the course of a 10K. Now, let's take a moment and think about our trainers during that. That is a lot of pounding of the pavement, treadmill, or trails, or whatever you're running on. So that really does highlight the need to have correctly fitting trainers and trainers that work well for your gait. But we also need to consider the lifetime and the wear of your trainers. Now, I'd love to say that your trainers are going to last you forever and ever, but I'm afraid that simply isn't the case. Typically, they'll last somewhere between 450 and 550 miles. Beyond that point, we start to find that they become less supportive and less cushioned, both of which can lead to niggles and injuries, which ironically can end up costing you more money as you try to sort out those niggles and injuries. So do yourself a favor and keep an eye on the wear of your trainers. Now, when you're getting going with running, it can be all too easy to get excited and end up doing too much too soon. Many mistakenly think that more is better when it comes to running, but before they know it, they're on the sidelines dealing with injury. Instead, try to be conservative in terms of how often you run and how far you run, particularly so when you're starting out. We often advise following the 10% rule, so you're never increasing a run by more than 10% in terms of the mileage or the duration, and also from week to week. This will allow your body time to recover, adapt, and develop. Are you a one route kind of person? Perhaps you figured out a perfect 5K from the door of your house, so you just do that over and over again. Okay, fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with that, and I can understand it's probably really time efficient. But what I would say is that there is more to running than that. Go and explore and enjoy, it's great fun. I do also appreciate some people are limited with their route choices. There aren't so many routes readily available to them. But something to consider if you are doing the same route over and over again, and perhaps it's on quite a hard surface, the tarmac, pavement, sidewalk, that's a lot of repeated impact through the joints. But if you can mix up that terrain, perhaps do a little bit of off-road, trail, and on the sidewalk, that is going to be much better for your body. Okay, a big mistake that I used to make and still do make from time to time, particularly so when I'm getting tired, is overstriding. Now, what I mean by overstriding is that we're landing heel first with our leg out in front of our body's center of gravity. Now, this causes a couple of issues, one of which is that by landing with our heel first, that is essentially like a braking force. But that also creates a big issue. It sends a lot of force up through the leg that can result in injuries such as shin splints, stress reactions, even stress fractures. Now, to prevent this, you want to try and land on your midfoot underneath your body. Now, when we are overstriding, which we're trying to prevent doing, what we're trying to do there is actually take really big steps. We want to reduce that. So a tip here is actually to imagine that you're running on hot coals and you're trying to take really light, quick steps so you don't burn the soles of your feet. Similarly to doing too much too soon, we've also got those that like to go out too fast. Now, Heather and Fraser seem to think that this is me down to a T. Personally, I have no idea what they're on about. Now, I do understand though that when you're in a race and everyone's going off at breakneck speeds around you, it can be very hard to restrain yourself and hold yourself back. But what I would say, if you can stick to your game plan, stick to your pace, it's amazing how many of those people you will pass later on in the race and the satisfaction of doing so. So stick to your race, your pace, not someone else's. Have you ever got halfway around a run, perhaps as far away from home as you can be, and realize that you're lacking fuel, you're bonking, or perhaps you're dehydrated. Yeah, it is not a pleasant feeling, and nor is it actually good for you in the long run, because actually by bonking, lacking fuel, getting dehydrated, it's putting a lot of stress on your body, and meaning that's going to take a lot of time to recover from. So to prevent this, you actually want to be thinking about fueling up and taking some hydration on around 1 to 2 hours before you plan to run. This is going to allow your body time to process that, perhaps even factoring in a little loose stop before you run, and if needs be, take some fuel and some fluid with you, and of course make sure you do the same when you get back from your run. Now, when I first started running, I used to carry my shoulders a bit like a boxer. It's something I see a lot of people doing. Basically, they're right up around my ears, they're really tense, that restricted my movement, it restricted my breathing, and restricted my arm carriage, and obviously wasted a lot of energy. Instead, you want to be relaxing those shoulders down, trying to carry your arms at approximately around a 90-degree bend in your elbow from your forearm to your upper arm. Now, as you're running, what I found really helps is actually making a little bit of a mental checklist of your upper body. So you think about relaxing your jaw, relaxing your shoulders, and thinking about that swing in your arms. Another thing that I found really helped is actually just dropping my arms down occasionally, really floppy, and then just bringing them back up into that 90-degree bend. Okay, I'm going to tackle another technical point here, but I'm actually going to refrain from calling it a mistake, because it's actually kind of perfectly normal, but it's just something to be mindful of and try and progress from with time, and that is dragging your feet. Now, if you ever watch an elite level runner, you'll see that they really lift their knee up quite high. I'm not talking quite as high as sprinters like Usain Bolt, but there is definitely a high knee lift, and that is really helping with the drive phase of the running. Now, the key muscle within this knee lift is actually our hamstring, because that helps to pick that foot up behind. So to work on this, I'd actually suggest doing a few slow drills, and that's really going to help work on that form. You can also do a few exercises in the gym to strengthen the glutes and the hamstring to really hold that form well, particularly so under fatigue. All right, and my final mistake, and it's a pretty big and common one, and that is not warming up. Come on, own up. How many of you quite regularly head out of the door at quite a pace with absolutely zero warm-up? Yeah, I know you're out there. Now, the problem here is that your muscles are cold, they're less supple, and they're less active, and that is putting you at far greater risk of injury, and also not forgetting the fact that it's just not setting you up well for that workout and making sure that you're getting the most and the best quality out of that. Now, the absolute ideal is actually to do a light dynamic warm-up or exercises before you actually head out of the door. Failing that though, you can just use the first 1, 2 or 3 kilometers of your run and just do it at a nice easy pace to really warm the body up gradually. Now, in the same manner, we've also obviously got the cool down, and how many of you just finish a run and are very happy just to sit down and have it done and dusted? The problem here is that you're not flushing the body of the toxins and bringing your heart rate down gradually. That's going to actually increase your recovery time and perhaps even have a knock-on effect for future runs. So if you can, just hang in there, do a couple of minutes at the minimum, just at a nice easy pace, just to bring that heart rate down gradually. Now, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If so, hit that thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more videos from GTN, you can click on the globe on screen right now and you can subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to see our things not to do before you run, you can see that by clicking just down here. And if you'd like to see some of our Christmas videos, you can see that by clicking just down here.